noticed with many people I've worked with that it's oftentimes the inability to feel empowered to do stuff that is blocking them. So they feel they don't have the strength, or you're sluggish, you don't really want to do, but you want to do, and you procrastinate. So a very key component of this, of you not accomplishing what you want, is that at your core, you're not feeling strong enough. So you're feeling disempowered, somewhat weak. And I'm not saying like you're weak because you're feeling weak at that part of your body, but it's like someone who hasn't, who needs, people talk about having a strong core, physical core, when you go to the gym and do some, what's that name? Sit-ups. To have a strong core and do a lot of exercise so that your body has a stronger, feel more stable, and your back is not, you're not doing this, but you're more, you're standing in a better, you have a better posture. So the same way you want to have a good posture, physical posture, you want to have a good emotional and spiritual posture. All right, so what am I talking about? It sounds like nonsense, but it isn't. So what I'm talking about is having a strong emotional and spiritual core. If someone has experienced a lot of, I've been slapped a lot by life. Let's say you feel somewhat beaten up by life. You have accumulated a lot of negative energy, heavy energy, and that is blocking your ability to feel empowered. So I'm going to do very, 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 very thorough and deep work exactly at that point, so that your core is becoming so strong that is a no-brainer. And that has so many, it's intertwined with so many things in your life. Your ability to speak up for yourself, to say no, to do things, to take action. And it will feel so much more natural, as opposed to, I have to make this happen. And then every single tiny step feels like something huge, because it feels so, because it's not easy, because you're struggling to do this. So when you are in that state, when you're in that mode, it's not even a state anymore. It's when you are in that heaviness, because everything feels so hard. It's because at your core is not strong. Actually, I'm going to give you another example of someone who, has a somewhat weak core. He had many issues, right? One of them was feeling really torn between two situations, two groups of people. And he wanted to be there for everybody. This is typical people pleaser. So if you're a people pleaser, you want to make everybody happy. At the end, you make nobody happy, and not even you. So this is because you have weak boundaries. You can't say no. You can't step up for yourself. And you don't have the strength even to say something, because inside you don't have it in you. It feels impossible. It's like you might be conceive it because you've seen it on movies and on other people, but you doing it feels like, oh my God, no way. Okay. Another of that person's characteristics was that he kind of told me as well that, well, even in relationships, he didn't have the strength to put an end to it when it was time. And it was he kind of was somewhat of a coward then, because he couldn't say it, right? And obviously he would give himself so many reasons. I don't want to hurt the person. I can't, blah, blah, blah. The reality is because inside he didn't have the strength. Why? Because, why? Because that person had a weak core. For many other reasons. Obviously, it's related to many things: childhood, family, culture, various things. But the point is, when you have a weak core, there are many things in your life that you can't really say, do, and act upon, even though deep inside you really do want to say these things and do these things, but you feel you can't. People might say you're a coward, or you're lazy, or ultimately it looks like it. But what's really happening is that you don't have that strength. And what this program, this training is going to do, this healing is going to do, is going to heal what's wounded and inject you with that sense of strength and empowerment. Afterwards, you're not going to feel afraid anymore to speak up. You're not going to feel like it's heavy to speak your mind or deal with some paperwork, or all of whatever used to feel terrible and horrible and scary is going to feel like a no-brainer. This is, how am I doing that? I'm going obviously to work my magic on you by healing your core, your emotional and spiritual core that got wounded at some point of your life over and over and over and over again. Or another situation is you didn't build your core, like someone never exercised. Well, he doesn't have a very strong core, does he? So it's the same thing. If you didn't learn how to, well, it's you don't have that strength in you. And what this training and this healing is going to do is taking this strength and injecting it in you. And it is something that has been done with that person I talked about. It was almost instant. In fact, it was quasi-instant, because an hour or two later, he actually told me, he said, "Oh my gosh, you know what? I feel much stronger now." Sounds like a fairy tale? Well, it's not a fairy tale, it's true. And it's why it's what I'm good at. And these things that might feel impossible to believe, well, I've done that with clients, with people I worked with. It's totally something that you can have. So if you are in this situation and you want to be that person who speaks up for yourself, who stand up for yourself, who is not afraid, and you know what? I'm not even going to tell you how to do this. It's going to come naturally. Why? Because when we heal the wounds and we remove all of that is blocking you, you're going to naturally be inclined to do and say what you really, really want, what you really, really feel like saying and doing. And this is where the magic happens.